Hey, my name is James, and this is a podcast with no name. I just came back from hooping, playing outside, 90 something degrees, just basketball. And it took me a while to realize, and I wanted to talk about this for a while, but, basketball specifically has changed my life. Ever since I was 4 years old, my mother just put me into a basketball program. I remember getting the ball for the first time, throwing it up, bricking it, didn't even hit the rim. But it's like I fell in love once I saw that ball drop. That's all it took. And from that moment on, I wanted to play that game for the rest of my life. And that love for the game you have, a lot of times it don't love you back. It doesn't work for everybody, sadly. And today we're going to talk about that. But this is going to go for all sports. Just basketball is going to be the topic for today, So, born in the Bronx, high school basketball was like a big thing. New York had a lot of attention, but not necessarily the Bronx that had the spotlight. It was like Manhattan and Brooklyn, but mostly Brooklyn. Basketball was like, all the rave, all the schools, the best schools. AU was a thing, but it wasn't as big as it was today. Like, AU was really big. It's pretty much like null and void high school basketball in general. And so I got enrolled into a Sousa program. It was a program in the Bronx. And for a while, they used to teach me about basketball. And that's all I wanted to do. Dedicated my life to it. I put everything into it. I would skip class. It was on my mind. Sleep, eat, drink. My attire was formed around it. And I know I'm not the only one. People used to dress like they wanted to go hoop. People had the shorts under the pants. The green basketball shoes, the neon fits. The Nike Tech, everybody wanted to have that. Some people did, some people didn't. The new Jordans. Basketball was everything. It was everything. And through elementary school to like the beginning of middle schoolish, I'll say, I was in that program. I was trying to move myself up the ranks. But I didn't necessarily know what AU was at the time. And high school basketball was just on my mind because my middle school team, we were working, we were trash. I'll say that, we were trash. Trash as hell. We won one game the entire season. Didn't make the playoffs. It was that bad. There was one kid that dropped 44 on us and dropped a mixtape on Instagram. I'll never forget that. I think I still got it saved on my phone. You know what I'm saying? The worst part is he was a ringer. Now, if nobody knows what a ringer is, they're usually people that's way older and they just lie or they look young enough to go and play for teams. So in reality, they cheating. You get what I'm saying? But that was just across my mind, just, making it big and playing high school basketball. Because that was still the main idea for a lot of kids. And I could jump high. I could still jump high, but when I was younger, my legs were fresh and I could jump over and over again. And that was my gift, my natural born gift. I could run fast, had high energy, and I jumped out the gym. But the problem was, I didn't know how to land. I didn't know how to position myself. So I was dunking in 8th grade. I didn't know what I was doing, though. No coach could help me because our coaches were underexperienced. They didn't really play ball. They were science teachers. And I had no coach to help me. I caught patellar tendonitis in both knees that year. It was harsh. I couldn't run. I could barely stand. I couldn't barely sit down. I needed crutches. At one point, I used the wheelchair. And it affected me real bad. Not being able to play basketball. That sucks. When you really love the game, Not being able to play it is like torture. You do anything, and by anything you mean anything to get back on that field, that court, or whatever. And that's exactly how I felt watching other people play, and I'm just like, yo, when is my leg gonna heal? I would be on the court, be like, yo, let me get one shot, let me play one game, and they'd be like, bro, your leg is messed up. And I'm like, bro, just give me a chance. You know, I could bust some of your asses still with the messed up leg. Stop playing with me. That's how I was feeling. And it moved into my freshman year. I wanted to try out for the team immediately. I didn't even know what a physical was. Had no idea what a physical was. So when they asked me for it, I'm just like, huh? And my leg was messed up. So I couldn't try out. I wasn't in crutches no more, but I was in like a cast. But I was dying. I was dying to try out. I was dying. And my mom was like, no, you can't do it. So I didn't. But I still continued playing basketball. And let me tell you this. Most athletes, I'm not going to say most, but a good percentage of athletes dedicated from their childhood to almost all their teenage life on the sport they love. Because when you really love it, you're going to try to make it somewhat far. That's the dream. And the people who make it far, it's because they've dedicated that plus more. They've dedicated their childhood, their teenage, and their young adult to adult life to get that far. You know, you didn't get time to go to parties. I just technically went to my own first party by myself for the first time. And I'm 17. First party ever. And I had fun. I was never a party person. I was the kid that was always in the gym. Kid always on the court, always playing pickup basketball, just hooping. I was the kid that played basketball. That's how people know me. That's how I got known. The kid with the basketball. People see me and be like, you still hoop? You still hoop? Because that's what I was known for. I was never in trouble. I see people, you know, grow up with me, fall apart after a while. You know, I used to grow up with a lot of kids that play basketball because that was the dream for a lot of little black boys, especially, you know, in my neighborhood. Still to this day, a lot of little black boys, NBA, that's on their minds. That's stick and glue. Now, that's how it was. That's how it was. And so I got to my sophomore year. I just found out what AAU was, right? It was like a shock. I'm thinking, AAU, you know, it was on the rise. It started getting big and all that stuff. And I'm like, I could try this, you know, I could try this. But first, let me try getting on my basketball team too. Then, boom, right? I went to a team in Westchester. Now, I'm thinking I'm about to bust ass because, like, oh, yeah, I'm athletic. I be smoking people in the park. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm one of the best in my school, which I was. I definitely was one of the best in my school. But I'm thinking I'm about to kill. Oh, my God. This is Orange County, by the way. Not outside of New York. Barely outside the Bronx. I don't even think it was outside the Bronx. I got put to shame. I only scored 2 points. These boys, and these mostly white boys, and you know the stigma around them, it's like, damn, all they do is shoot. And I saw the skill gap, well, I was the most athletic one there because I was naturally gifted, but the skill gap, the shooting gap, the handles, the passing, the IQ, it just like put me on blast. I realized, and sadly, this is the part that usually a lot of people don't recover from. That's the day like my hoop dream almost completely died. Cause I remember only scoring 2 points off a midi and like a layup. I'm smoking, I'm losing the ball, I could barely catch it. I'm chasing people, they crossing me up, they passing the ball, I'm forgetting the plays. And I just sit down and realize I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And that hurts when you realize you're not good enough past a certain level. And usually, what you do is work towards it. And that's what I tried to do. But it slowly starts to sink in more and more. When you realize you face a competition that really is outside, and the fact that it wasn't even out of state was worst. You realize, you're not as big. There's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger fish. And so I remember that day my mom was driving me home and I was sat in silence. I sat in silence. The coach said, "Oh, yeah, you made the practice team though. You're not on the official AAU team, but you made the practice team. I'll call you to let you know." He never called me. And my mother was like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna make a big mistake not calling you. Oh yeah, he said he's gonna call you." But in my mind, I already knew they was not gonna call me. I am untrained. I'm little to barely basic, just basic handles. Speedy, athletic, could jump out the gym, but what good is that if I don't have any IQ? I can't shoot. I drive, but I drive with no coordination. I'm just a wild mess. I could just jump and run. Might as well do track or one of those sports. You get what I'm saying? And maybe I should have done that. I should have thought about that. But I realized the skill gap was there, and I needed to work on my game. But instead of me working on my game, it put me into a depression or a drought of basketball. I just lost the taste for it, lost my interest. I feel like almost every athlete has gone through this, losing interest for the game, just losing that fire, because it hurt me. It hurt me realizing, damn, this is hard. There's a good chance I won't make it. And I feel like that's where people drop off. That's where people quit. That's where people leave it off. When they're I call it hoop dreams, but in reality it's like this for a lot of sports. But when their hoop dreams die, people drop off. So many people I grew up playing basketball with, that once they hoop dreams died, once they realized they weren't good enough, their life went to crap. Some were for the better, some went to other things. I've seen people go to other things, but a lot of them went to other bad stuff. A lot of them started gangbanging, selling weed and all that. There's one guy I know, two people, they were brothers, good at basketball. They were talented as hell. You know what I'm saying? But, they went into the wrong programs, didn't get attention, no training, wasted potential, honestly. And they started going into gangs. One brother, he started getting into the gang life. I stopped seeing him on the court. Then I heard, he pulled a knife out on his mom's, started jacking this and that. And he started getting deeper and deeper into that lifestyle. One day I heard his mom kicked him out his crib. He's on the streets, in the apartments now. And he fight his brother fight him. They're not on good terms, he beats up his brother, and I'm just like, damn, he's falling off. Then one day I hear he go to jail. Weapon charges, right? And I'm like, I remember I grew up with this kid. I played ball. He was good. He could have went somewhere. But again, he went through the same thing as me. One day something hit him. Real life hit him with damn, this is hard. My dream might have died. And I think, his dream died. And that is what really knocked him off. I watched it real time. Same with his brother. His brother used to hoop all the time. He was good. He would fry people, He was a nice player. Oh, well, I'll say good. He played for a thing called Bronx Hawks, right? But then one day he stopped. He started hanging around certain people once he realized basketball wasn't working for him. And I see him more in that gang stuff. Now the problem was I realized the people he was in the gang with didn't really like him. He was like the baby of the group. They used to bully him and stuff. It sucked. I'm watching him get beat up and embarrassed on Snapchat. Posts every couple days. This man comes back with new bruises, new scars. Just to jack or rep a flag, to carry a gun, to post stuff on Snap, to smoke stuff on Snap. It's like, bro, these people's not your mans. They would joke about him. People who don't even like live that life be clowning him. The man would get clowned. Talking bad about him. Everybody's trying to beat him up. People's trying to kill him. I remember one day he came with his whole face bruised up, beat up, swollen. And I'm like, yo, bro, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, a car crash. Turns out it wasn't a car crash. The man got jumped by his own mans. Well, who was said to be his mans. And it's like, bro, you're doing all this just to fit in? To feel something that you lost? And I'm not gonna completely blame him, because in reality, it happens. It happens. It happens a lot. I can't judge. And it was heartbreaking to see, because now the dude has a kid. He's not even with the mama no more. He's skinny. He's unhealthy. He just smokes a lot now. He carries around his flag. He got the shiesty mask. He got scars, bruises. His eyes is unrecognizable. I remember he called me on the street. I looked back and it took me a while. And then I realized it was him. And I'm just like, damn. And he was like, yeah, bro, how you been? This and that. Like, I'm good. I'll catch you later. And I'm thinking, like a good 4 or 5 years ago, this man was hooping with me. And we was hooping together, going places, traveling teams, hooping, and actually playing good. And just like that, life changed. Life changed like that. It's hard to see. It's heartbreaking to see. One thing that everybody I see that stop hooping, when they see me, they be like, yo, James, keep hooping. Yo, James, keep pushing. Yo, I'm trying to see you do this and that. And that's what fuels me. That's what inspires me to keep hooping. This is most likely I won't make it to the NBA. But, I'm going into college. I'm going to do intramural sports and maybe find a way to play on that D1 team. Got to work for it, but I'm putting in the work from now. I know I got to dedicate my time to it. I already started. Most of my life has been dedicated to this game. That's what most of it has been put to. This game. This sport. And them saying that is like a fuel to my fire. It's like, damn, maybe I should keep going. I made it this far. I ain't fell off like other people. I ain't living the life, I ain't just quit. I'm still on this. I still play somewhat good. It's not like I'm trash. The fact that I'm able to play for my high school, I was one of the best players in my school, so that means something. Even if it's one school, you still put the effort and had some work in, and your work is proven. And that's what my goal is. That's the love of the game. I have friends who, just stopped playing basketball. There's a friend that he went from basketball to football, and he realized football was for him. And he excelled. That man's getting scholarships. He's talking to coaches. He might go D1. I'm proud of him, and I really hope he goes far. I was supposed to, have him as a guest, but, couldn't make it. But honestly, Terry, if you hear this, bro, I'm just wishing the best for you. And I'll just leave you with this. When I play basketball, I'm not only doing it for me. I'm doing it for all the boys that fell off, all the boys whose dreams got lost, for everybody whose hoop dreams died. And this is not for me, this is not for just basketball. This is for all other sports as well. And when you make it that far, just remember, You had a reason to be here. You fought for your spot. I'm not doing this for only me. I'm doing this for everybody.